Minister, as it relates to the awarding of the contract for the Moliniere land slippage project, and can you clarify for us the procedures that went through to arrive at a suitable contractor?
Thank you very much for this question. I think it has become apparently very important that the ministry at this point in time do further detailed clarification and just to explain the process and also to indicate some of the details of the whole tendering process for the Moliniere landslip. And I think it's important, let me start by saying on the 24th of January 2022, the Ministry of Infrastructure had issued an open tender, invitation to tender to all contractors regionally, internationally and otherwise for the Moliniere landslip rehabilitation works. I also want to go further to say that we are very sensitive to the nature of those works, and we had a lengthy discussion with the consulting firm to ensure that the requirements are not beyond what our local companies would be able to meet, so that it wouldn't hinder them from tendering on this project. So a number of discussions were held not to compromise the integrity of the process or what we want for the project, but also to ensure that local companies have an opportunity to meet those requirements. On 4 p.m. on Monday, the 7th of March, 2022, bids were closed. All right. Between the 24th of January and the 7th of March, 2022, we had 13 companies, both locally and regional companies, expressing interest in doing the Moliniere project. And I think it's at this point in time, I'll call out the names of the 13 companies that picked up documents, bid documents for the project. The first company is Cali Company Limited, or Carriacou Limited, Grenada State Engineering Construction Group Limited, Construction and Industrial Equipment Limited, Kenny's Trucking, General Earth Movers Limited, Hanover Construction Company Limited, Key Chanuna and Sunrise Construction, that's a joint venture, Gilbert and Partners Engineering Company Limited. I think I should state here, Key Chanuna and Sunrise Construction, that joint venture. Sunrise Construction is a local company. Gilbert and Partners Engineering Company Limited, that's a local company, bona fide local company. Junior Sami Contractors Limited, Egil and Associates Caribbean Limited, Consolidated Contractors Company Caribbean Inc., that's CCC, that's local. Kenny's is local. And also we had Queen Company, which is local, and Francis Jeremiah, who is also a local engineer. So those are the 13 companies that express interest in doing this project and who would have received or requested tender documents. Of those 13 companies, 6 of those companies actually submitted tender documents on the 7th of March 2022. And I repeat again, of the 13 companies that take documents, only 6 submitted documents on the 7th by 4 p.m. Monday, the 7th of March 2022. And of the 6 companies, only 1 Grenadian company that submitted tender documents. And I repeat again, of the 13 companies, only 6 submitted, and of the 6 companies, only 1 Grenadian, bona fide Grenadian company submitted tender documents. I would not state the company for a number of reasons, and you will see going forward. And I want to speak because a lot of the discussions is centered around misinformation that the government, in some way, insinuating that the government is not giving opportunities to local companies to bid on a particular project. and to insinuate that there is some kind of mischief taking place, and we want to inform the public that that is far, very far from the truth. And in terms of the scoring, all right, and scoring is done based on technical capacity to complete such a project, and also financial capacity to complete such a project. For you to be considered from the scoring, you must achieve, there is 6 areas that you are scored on, and you must amass 70 points to be deemed as suitable to implement this job. From the 6 companies that submitted, one of the companies who submitted documents, it was non-responsive, so they didn't even bother evaluating that company, so they end up evaluating 5. They missed out a number of documents, and so that one there was nothing there to evaluate. So eventually, only 5 companies' documents were evaluated. And of course, the bona fide gradient company was one of those companies that was evaluated. After evaluation, the highest score received was 91, and the lowest score received was 42 points. And the Grenadian company in question received the lowest scoring of 42 points. And I'll expand further. And I said, I don't want to call the Grenadian company name, but I want to just go into details for persons to understand how this is done, why the process is done that way, and why the decision is made. Because this is an important project. Millions of dollars are going to be invested, and we must get it right. We must have the right person on the job to deal with the technical aspects to ensure that the project is implemented properly. And one of the reasons why the local gradient company was not scored very high, because of the 20 or so documents that was part of the tender that was required to submit it, the local bona fide gradient company failed to submit about 14 or so of the 20 plus documents. And just to give you a snapshot of some of the things that was not submitted, things like insurance, methodology statement, schedules, also what was failed was submitted, information on doing prior work similar to that nature what is being done at Moliniere. So these are some of the critical things that was missing from that submission, hence the low scoring for that company. And that was the only Grenadian bona fide company that submitted. So Sherry, and I think it's important that the public understands what had happened throughout the whole process, and to know that this is a clear, transparent, and a process that we always, when we have projects of that nature, we try to do it in the interest of the country. And of course, we have residents who are going to, and vehicles who are going to be traversing that roadway on a daily basis. And as such, we have a responsibility to do it properly. And we have to get the right team and the right company to do it. And I wouldn't go into the other details and the other companies, because I think what is being dispersed in the public domain is to give the impression that the government of Grenada and this office and my staff in some way have alluded to or refused to give due diligence to a local company for implementing the Moliniere landslip, and that is false. That is false. I want to state that categorically, that is incorrect, and it's a serious disservice to the professional staff that we have here at this ministry. I mean, they work hard night and day to ensure that we do what we can. And even when we try to ask them to expedite as quickly as possible, they make sure that we follow the steps so that we get the best results. So I just wanted to raise this. I think this is critical. I think this is important. Another critical thing that was raised at my last press briefing, cabinet press briefing, I did mention, and there is this also false narrative that we we didn't give indication where the money is coming from. We stated clearly that this project is funded locally 100%. And I also went further to say that the government has even went further to invest in establishing a new roadway, that is the Monkuma Road, which should be ready in the next 60 days or so, so that we can use while the Moliniere landslip is being restored. So it's significant investment that we have been made to ensure that the traffic travels safely from the north of the island to the south of the island. So I think this should help clarify what has been wrongfully issued in the public domain, and I think that is sufficient for this time. I mean, I am not concerned about anything else. We have done, we believe, a clear process. We have done due diligence, formally, informally, to ensure that we have the best person in terms of what was submitted. And we have to be fair. We have to be fair and honest to the companies who submit their documents. And that is what we have done during this process. So I want to just state that for now.